Hello and welcome to Indus News Live from Islamabad. I am Hira Mustafa and these are the headlines. Pakistan is celebrating its 75th Independence Day today with festivities being held nationwide with social distancing protocols. President Arif Alvi addressed the flag hoisting ceremony in the capital Islamabad. He stressed the need to reject all sorts of negative propaganda, saying Pakistan is on the course of rapid development. While in a separate message, Prime Minister Imran Khan urged the nation to uphold values of unity, faith and discipline. In Pakistan, security forces have killed 3 terrorists after they fired at Frontier Corps vehicle in southwestern Balochistan. The military's media wing says soldier Naik Sharif embraced martyrdom in the attack in Lora Lai district. In a statement, the ISPR said 2 other injured FC personnel have been evacuated to a nearby hospital. In Afghanistan, heavy fighting has broken out in Marai Sharif, the only major city still under government control in the north. Clashes have also broken out in Maidan Shar, a provincial capital just 40 kilometers from the capital Kabul. President Ashraf Ghani says the government's priority is to remobilize security and defense forces. Earlier, the US expressed deep concern over the Taliban's advances, but said Kabul is not under imminent threat. Brazil has reported more than 900 daily deaths from COVID-19 and almost 34,000 cases. In Pakistan, 73 people have died while nearly 4,800 tested positive in the past 24 hours. Globally, the virus has claimed more than 4.3 million lives and infected over 206 million people. In Turkey, the death toll from floods has risen to 40 as emergency crews search for victims and survivors in the Black Sea region. In a tweet, the health minister said 34 people died in Kastamonu province, while 6 in the neighboring Sinop. Well, those were the headlines. News in detail coming after the short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now the news in detail. Pakistan is celebrating its 75th Independence Day today, with festivities being held nationwide with social distancing protocols. President Arif Alvi addressed the flag hoisting ceremony in the capital Islamabad. He stressed the need to reject all sorts of negative propaganda, saying Pakistan is on the course of rapid development. Alvi pointed out that Pakistan successfully tackled the menace of terrorism. While in a separate message, Prime Minister Imran Khan urged the nation to uphold values of unity, faith and discipline. Khan added that Pakistan will continue to support Kashmiris in their right to self-determination. Earlier, a change of guard ceremony was held at the Mazar-e-Qaid in Karachi. Special guest commandant of Pakistan Naval Academy, Commodore Sohail Ahmed Azmi, laid a wreath and offered prayer. Later today, President will announce Pakistan's civil awards on 26 people for showing excellence in their respective fields. In Indian capital of New Delhi, the High Commission for Pakistan held an elegant flag hoisting ceremony. For more on this, we have Manail Ahmed, our Islamabad correspondent with us. Thank you, Manail Ahmed, for joining us. Manahil, please update us about how the Pakistani nation is marking its Independence Day.
Yes, people of all walks of life, men, women, children, they've taken the day off to celebrate Pakistan's Independence Day today. Children, women, men, they're out on the streets, mostly, wearing the colors of green and white, which represent the colors and the flag of Pakistan. They're out here to celebrate Independence Day in every possible way that they can. Families are going out on a picnic to celebrate the day with their families. I'm currently over here here at the Centaurus Mall in Islamabad, where families are here to avail some amazing sales and deals that are going on at Independence Day over here at the mall. Kids are carrying horns and blowing horns, and cracking fireworks, blasting music, nationalistic music, and really enjoying and celebrating Independence Day this year. It's really endearing to see everybody out on the streets and celebrate Pakistan's Independence Day the way they always have this year too.
Right, Manahil, we see a lot of zealous celebrations on the roads and buildings being all adorned. Is there any general message or theme this year?
Yes, absolutely. I witnessed a scene a while ago where I saw an Afghan refugee and a Pakistani citizen carrying flags of Afghanistan and Pakistan together. Pakistanis are also carrying flags of Kashmir and Afghanistan to express solidarity with the humanitarian crisis that is happening in Indian-occupied Kashmir and Afghanistan. So this is a theme that I think that is being followed this year. Previously, we've seen Pakistanis carry flags of China, which always represented the strong bond that Pakistan and China holds. And this year we've seen, in addition to that, with flags being carried of Indian-occupied Kashmir to express solidarity with what's happening in Indian-occupied Kashmir, and also with the people in Afghanistan. So that is definitely something new that I have witnessed this year.
Right, Manahil, usually on Independence Day, a number of events and seminars are arranged. What can we expect this year given the pandemic and restrictions on gatherings?
As every year, there are quite a few seminars and events arranged this year as well. But of course, due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the Delta variant and the possible fourth wave, things are different. There are SOPs that are being implemented, certain boundaries that are not to be crossed. For instance, over here at Centaurus Mall, you're not allowed to enter the mall without a mask, and there's a certain amount of number of people that can enter stores and shops, and a number exceeding that aren't allowed to enter shops. So SOPs are being followed. There's a 6 feet distance that is to be maintained between people over here. There's masks, and also those who are not vaccinated aren't allowed to enter restaurants, malls, and parks. So these are certain restrictions and certain implementations that are being made over here in Islamabad for those who are celebrating Pakistan's Independence Day.
Manahil Ahmed, thank you for updating us. And now we're moving on. In Pakistan, security forces have killed 3 terrorists after they fired at Frontier Corps vehicle in southwestern Balochistan. The military's media wing says soldier Naik Sharif embraced martyrdom in the attack in Loralai district. In a statement, the ISPR said 2 other injured FC personnel have been taken to a nearby hospital. It comes a day after the security forces killed 1 terrorist and apprehended another in South Waziristan district. In Afghanistan, heavy fighting has broken out in Mazar-e-Sharif, the only major city still under government control in the north. Clashes have also broken out in Maidan Shar, a provincial capital just 40 kilometers from the capital, Kabul. Details in this report.
The situation in Afghanistan continues to get worse. The Taliban claim to have captured another provincial capital, Shahran, in eastern Paktika. A group spokesperson says the Taliban have seized the governor's house and police headquarters. President Ashraf Ghani says the government's priority is to remobilize security and defense forces. In a televised address, Ghani said he will not allow the imposed war on Afghans to bring further killings. The president said his focus is on preventing further instability, violence and displacement of people. Earlier, the US expressed deep concern over the Taliban's advances but said Kabul is not under imminent threat. In a press briefing, Pentagon spokesman John Kirby, however, added the group is trying to isolate Kabul. Pentagon spokesperson Kirby called on Afghans to unite, saying that no outcome has to be inevitable.
The U.S. has imposed sanctions on an alleged oil smuggler and companies for supporting Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. In a statement, the Treasury Department said the Omani businessman facilitated shipments of Iranian oil. It said the designation targets a network of businesses based in Oman, Liberia and Romania. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the Quds Force used revenues from oil sales to fund malign activities. The action freezes any U.S. assets of those blacklisted and generally bars Americans from dealing with them. The measures come as talks to revive the nuclear deal between Iran and world powers are stalled. Brazil has reported more than 900 daily deaths from COVID-19 and almost 34,000 cases. Globally, the virus has claimed more than 4.3 million lives and infected over 206 million people. More in this report.
The resurgence of the COVID-19 outbreaks due to the Delta variant has dragged nations back into the sweeping restrictions. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security warned of a heightened domestic threat from extremists motivated by new COVID-19 curves. U.S. medical workers blame the resurge on the authorities' moves to politicize the pandemic as they suffer extreme burnout due to a rise in hospitalizations.
We're battling the misinformation and we're battling each other when we should be fighting together against the virus. The virus should be the problem. Now it seems that the willingness to get vaccinated segregates with how you vote, and that's something I just don't understand.
The Canadian government has announced to mandate all federal workers to get vaccinated amid a surge due to the Delta variant. This comes as the head of the Oxford vaccine group lambasted the wealthy countries over booster shots. He said many more people will die if Western political leaders prioritize booster jabs for their own populations instead of sharing doses. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization says it is setting up a new group to trace the virus origins. It said the move seeks to end what it called political point scoring that had hampered investigations.
We are proposing to member states to discuss with us and with the scientific community the next steps. And as we always say, all hypotheses are on the table. We need to understand. It's difficult. It's a difficult process. It will take time, and the scientists need to have the space to be able to work in a quiet manner without political pressure or political debate. This is a scientific work.
In the United Kingdom, authorities said the estimated range for COVID-19 reproduction R number could be below 1, suggesting cases may no longer be growing exponentially. However, the situation remains grim in Southeast Asia. The Philippines' already stretched healthcare system is under more strain as the country reports the second largest daily increase in infections, while in Japan, COVID-19 cases keep rising, defying attempts to contain the spread of the Delta variant.
In Pakistan, coronavirus has claimed 73 more lives overnight. The Health Ministry says the death toll has risen to 24,339. The ministry registered nearly 4,800 infections in the past 24 hours. It said the positivity rate stood at 8%. Pakistan's caseload has exceeded 1,094,000, while over 983,000 people have recovered. The ministry says there are more than 86,000 active cases, out of which over 4,700 are critical. Pakistan's chairman, Joint Chief of Staff Committee, General Nadeem Raza, says the country is keen to expand its military to military cooperation with Kazakhstan. He said this in a meeting with Kazakh Prime Minister Aksar Momin during an official visit to the country. The military's media wing said the officials discussed measures to enhance the level and scope of military engagements. It added that the leaders also discussed matters of mutual interest, bilateral cooperation, and the Afghan peace process. The Kazakh Prime Minister acknowledged the sacrifices rendered by the Pakistan armed forces in the fight against terrorism. General Raza also met with the Kazakh Defense Minister and Chief of General Staff of Kazakhstan Armed Forces. More news stories coming up after the short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Israeli security forces attacked hundreds of Muslims outside the Ibrahimi Mosque in the occupied West Bank city of Hebron. Palestinian media says soldiers fired tear gas and stun grenades at the worshippers, causing many to suffocate. It said hundreds of Palestinians gathered at the site to protest Israel's construction plans in the holy site. Palestinians see the construction as a way to take over the entire site for Jewish visitors, which is now split into separate Jewish and Muslim areas. Meanwhile, Israeli soldiers injured 39 Palestinians in the Ba'ida town of Nablus city. The forces clamped down on a procession held against the illegal colonialist outpost and the ongoing takeover of Palestinian lands. Israeli soldiers also attacked the weekly demonstration in Kafur Kadum village in Kalkilia city. Lebanon's central bank says it is ready to use the monetary reserves to finance fuel imports if the necessary legislation is passed. In an interview, Riyad Salameh said central bank reserves stand at $14 billion. He said the formation of a new government with a reform program can also resolve the crisis in the country, but he said it is unacceptable to spend millions on fuel with oil, gasoline and electricity still absent from the market. Salameh also noted that all officials were aware of the decision to lift fuel subsidies. He made the remarks as the Lebanese government clashed with the central bank over its move to end fuel subsidies. Earlier, Lebanon's Prime Minister Hassan Diab rejected President Michel Aoun's call to convene the cabinet to discuss the crisis. Dwindling fuel supply has plunged Lebanon into extended blackouts and long queues for petrol and bread. The U.S. has urged Tunisian President Kais Saied to swiftly restore democracy more than a month after he suspended parliament. This comes as Saied received U.S. Deputy National Security Advisor John Finner and top diplomat Joy Hood in Tunis. In a statement, White House said Finner delivered a message from President Joe Biden on return to democracy. Finner discussed with President Saied the need to appoint a prime minister designate who would form a capable government. He also stressed the urgency to address the immediate economic and health crisis facing Tunisia. The official said the empowered government will be able to create space for an inclusive dialogue about proposed constitutional reforms. Finner also met with civil society leaders and conveyed U.S. support for their active participation in building a democratic future. The death toll from Turkey's floods has risen to 40 as emergency crews search for victims and survivors in the Black Sea region. In a tweet, the Turkish health minister said 34 people died in Kastamonu province, while 6 in the neighboring Sinop. Floods triggered by torrential rain caused some buildings to collapse, smashed bridges and clogged streets with cars. Nearly 180 villages in 3 provinces are still without electricity. Earlier, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan visited one of the hardest hit cities and attended a funeral for some of the victims. Speaking in Bozkurt, Erdogan declared the 3 provinces a disaster zone. At least 1 person has died while 2 others are missing after torrential rains touched off a landslide in western Japan. A wide swathe of western Japan, particularly the southernmost main island of Kyushu, saw record levels of rainfall. Meteorological agency warned of landslides in a wide area stretching from western to the northeastern part of the country. Rivers broke their banks in several cities, including Kurum in Fukuoka, and were dangerously close to the tops and others. Shinkansen bullet train service has been halted along much of the line running from Tokyo to Kyushu, while heavy rains have also moved into the central part of the largest main island of Honshu. Authorities have increased the threat level to the highest 5 to cover more than 1.5 million people. In the U.S. state of California, Dixie wildfire has flared up driven by winds along one of its flanks. The Plumas County Sheriff's Office issued new mandatory evacuations for all of Genesee Valley. The fire has scorched over 500,000 acres and remains only about 30% contained. The U.S. Forest Service said it is operating in crisis mode, fully deploying firefighters and maxing out its support system. To the northwest, the Monument Fire, one of at least 3 large blazes sparked by lightning last month, continues to grow. Officials warned that damage to fiber optic cables in the area is impacting emergency 911 notifications in a nearby county. U.S. government scientists have confirmed that July was the world's hottest month ever recorded. They said last month's globe land and ocean surface temperature was 0.9 degrees Celsius, hotter than 20th century's average, beating the record of July 2016. The National Ocean and Atmospheric Administration report says Asia experienced its hottest July on record. Meanwhile, the land surface temperatures in the northern hemisphere measured 1.54 degrees Celsius above average. Earlier Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change found that the burning of fossil fuels has unequivocally heated up the planet. It said these high temperatures have not been seen on Earth in around 125,000 years. In Spain, the Perseid meteor shower put on a spectacular show for the sky watchers in the Canary Islands. The spectacle of bright lights was seen from Pico de las Nieves, the highest mountain of Gran Canaria Island. According to scientists, the Perseid meteors are made from the debris left behind by the swift Tuttle comet. As the Earth passes close to the comet's path, the meteors become visible just like shooting stars. The Perseid meteor shower reaches its peak in mid-August and is best seen from the northern hemisphere. Scientists say as astonishingly well-preserved lion cub found in Russia's Siberian permafrost is 28,000 years old. The dead animal still had its fur, internal organs and skeleton intact. More about unique discovery in this report.
The female cub named Sparta was found in Russia's Yakutia region in 2018. A second lion cub called Boris was found the year before. The cubs were discovered 15 meters apart, but are not only from different litters, but were also born thousands of years apart. The scientists say Boris, a male cub, lives around 43,448 years ago.
The find itself is unique. There was no other such find in Yakutia. Although another 3 lion cubs have been found for the last few years. One of them, Boris, was located close to Sparta, and others were found nearby more or less on the same river. Those cubs were 1 or 2 weeks old, very little ones. They were nicknamed Uyan and Dina after the river Uyandina.
The 2 cubs, aged around 1 to 2 months, were found by mammoth tusk collectors. Meanwhile, 2 other lion cubs named Yuan and Dina have also been discovered in the region in recent years. Cave lions have been extinct for thousands of years.
It complements the chain of discoveries, because if you talk about Uyan and Dina, their age was 1 or 2 weeks old. But Sparta and Boris were different ages, a month or 2, or probably less. Something like this. I think Boris is older because it has lighter wool comparing with Sparta.
Similar finds in Russia's vast Siberian region have happened with increasing regularity. Climate change is warming the Arctic at a faster pace than the rest of the world and has thawed the ground in some areas long locked in permafrost.
Pakistan says the International Monetary Fund has promised $2.77 billion to the country. State Bank of Pakistan's Governor Raza Bakr said the country's economy is moving in the right direction. In a press briefing, Bakr welcomed the announcement of funds from the IMF for boosting the global economy. He added that these funds will lift Pakistan's foreign reserves to an all-time high. The governor said that Pakistan's GDP is projected to grow over 4% this fiscal year. In cricket, West Indies are leading Pakistan by 34 runs on day 2 of the first test of their 2-match series. The home team scored 251 runs at the loss of 8 wickets against Pakistan's first innings score of 217. The hosts rallied from the discomfort of 100 for 5 to 251 and 2 wickets in hand while going into the 3rd day. Skipper Craig Brathwaite and Jason Holder's pivotal partnership of 96 runs majorly helped the hosts in their comeback. Meanwhile, Mohammad Abbas finished day 2 with another wicket after ending the previous day with 2 wickets. The match will be resumed today at Sabina Park in Jamaica. In tennis, 3rd seed Stefanos Tsitsipas has clinched his spot in the semi-finals of the National Bank Open. He beat 6th seed Casper Ruud 6-1, 6-4. The Greek jumped out to an early lead, winning 2 of 3 break points and 84% of his service points in the first set. He has now tied their ATP head-to-head series at 1 each, gaining revenge from his defeat to Ruud in Madrid in May. Meanwhile, American John Isner extended his win streak to 9 matches. He halted the resurgent Gael Monfils, winning 7-6, 6-4 to reach the semis as well. Earlier top-seeded Daniil Medvedev of Russia outlasted 7-seeded Hubert Hurkacz of Poland. Tsitsipas will next face unseeded Relly Opelka, while Medvedev will play against Isner. In surfing, Australian Jack Robinson and Stephanie Gilmore have won the men's and women's finals at the Corona Open in Mexico. Robinson defeated Brazilian David Silva to clinch his first championship tour victory at Barra de la Cruz. The 23-year-old stormed through the field with high-risk aerial maneuvers, scoring one of the best tube rides of the event. He scored 8.33 with his fifth wave, the highest score of the decider, and claimed victory by just 0.02 points. Meanwhile, Gilmore edged out Hawaii's Malia Manuel for the 32nd championship tour victory of her career. She has moved into fourth position, heading into the RIP Curl World Surfing League finals, which will take place in California. Former mixed martial artist Khabib Nurmagomedov has been signed by the Russian soccer club FC Legion Dynamo. Nurmagomedov had retired from martial arts in October last year. In June, he revealed in an interview that he has long dreamed about being a professional in the sport and is open to offers to play it. The undefeated Russian is an avid lover of the game, which he has been playing regularly since his retirement. He announced his retirement from MMA immediately after his second round submission victory over Justin Gaethje at UFC 254. The undefeated MMA fighter has a perfect record of 29-0. For the weather updates, we have Raja Sarosh with us.
Thank you. We're going to have a look at the weather situation around the world, starting with Abu Dhabi, where weather is expected to be extremely hot with temperatures rising to 41 degrees centigrade. While in Amsterdam, temperatures are at 22 degrees centigrade with few clouds rolling in the sky. If we head to Ankara, there is a clear weather with temperatures at 28 degrees centigrade. Moving down under to Auckland, the temperature is chilly at 15 degrees centigrade with thin layer of clouds covering the sky. Now, if you're traveling to Bangkok, there will be an expected thunderstorm with temperatures around 31 degrees centigrade. In Beijing, temperatures are at 28 degrees centigrade with clouds completely veiling the sun. While in Beirut, you will experience sunny weather with temperatures at 33 degrees centigrade. Berliners will experience temperatures at 27 degrees centigrade under partly cloudy sky. Heading to Cairo, the hot sun will be out with temperatures at 38 degrees centigrade. And down under in Canberra, the temperatures are at 15 degrees centigrade with clear sunny weather. In Islamabad, the temperatures are at 32 degrees centigrade accompanied by afternoon thunderstorm. While in Jakarta, the temperatures are steady at 32 degrees centigrade, but you will also experience thunderstorms in the forecast. That's all for now. Back to you.
Thank you, Sarosh. That's all for now. For the latest updates, you can follow us on social media at Indus.news.